Hi, today we will be discussing one of the important topic on problem solving C course, that is data types of C. In C programming language, there are different types of data types are available. Let us discuss one after the other. Data types usually before starting a different types of data will be discuss what is data type. Data types are usually defined as data storage format. Data storage format. So usually that variable can store the values. That can store the values or a data, right? It determines the type. So what does it? What is the major advantage of using it? Any value you are storing it in particular variables will be define what is the kind of data you are storing and what size of data you are storing it, right? So that always will be associated with the variables. Now we'll discuss what are the types of data, what are the data types in C, right? First, usually you all of you know that first type is primary data types. Primary data types has three data types generally: float, int and character. That means int, float, character. It is along with other data type is also available, that is double, and also there is a string data types are there. That will be discussed little later in this. So another other kind of category in types are secondary data types. In their secondary data types are further divided into two types. The first type is derived data types. So in that it will becomes array and pointer. The array and pointer are the two data types generally will comes under secondary data types. The array and pointer. Another category under secondary data types is user defined data type. One is structured data type, another one is union data types and enum data types, right? So in this you will be concentrating more on data structure and union, but you will be in your, as per your course there are these three structure and union will be there, that will be discussed little later in detail. Okay, so once you understand these are the categories, you will be discuss one after the other one in the future, right? In the next slide, the primary data type is a built-in data type. It's a built-in data type which are directly supported by machine, which are directly supported by machine. So it's also called as a fundamental data types, right? It's a primitive data types, also called as a primitive data types or a fundamental data types. So these data types generally int, right? As you are told in the previous slide, the int is the primitive data types are generally primary data type. So what do you mean by int? Int is always store the integer number which is generally is a whole number which as not having any fractional part, just like example 10, 105 and so on. So in integer data type, further you can classify three classes. One is short int, general int and long int. All of these data types have signed and unsigned forms. So both all the three class having a signed number and unsigned number. So depending on the size you wanted, you can use it in your program. If you have a short int is required, only you can go with the short int. If I want to long int, So always you have to use the long int. It has a larger than the normal int and shorter than uh, the int, right? General int. Usually we will always using in your program int. Okay. So the best example is like this. First it will be data type. Type is a integer and values associated with the variable and assigning value 10. It is semicolon. Every statement is ended with a semicolon as shown it. Another kind of primitive data type is float. Float is generally like it is also store the integer number along with the decimal part or a fractional part. It can store the floating point number, that means which represent the real number, that means it's a whole number, and with the decimal part and fractional part. So generally can write it like this: 10.50155 point etc. So when accuracy of the floating point number is insufficient, so in case your the result is insufficient, your accuracy is very less, you have to always use the double to define the number. Another special data type is primitive data type is or primary data types will always, if you want to store the larger number with more precise precision, will always go with the double. So double is same as float, but only difference is longer precision. So longer precision is you can store the decimal point is more values, you can be able to store it as a larger size compared to the floating point. Okay. So another to it can extend the further precision. Suppose if you want to further more accuracy is required, in that case you can also use the long double. Generally it is memory size of the memory is 8 bits of the 80 bits of the memory space required to store the long double values. So this will be example will be like this. Okay, float is equal to variable name. So 10.50 which can be terminated with a semicolon. Right. So once you understand the primary data type, we will be seeing another some more additional primary data type will be char. Char is always storing a single alphabets or a numerical values. Right? Data can store the single characters of alphabets or a digit or special number. So like this. Right? So each character is assigned some integer value which is known as a ASCII value. So always it will associated, though you are on the user side will be assigning a inside internal representation of the char of that particular value will be always ASCII, right? ASCII values. So like this it can be stored ASCII values, right? So another special data type, as you have not discussed while at categorizing a data types, but why will not be there. This will not consider primary of any data type, but it's a special data type. It has not written why this is called special data types. It is not written any value. It has no value. The void type has no value. Therefore, we cannot declare as variable. So it cannot declared as a variable. Always variable as holding value and returning it. It is not nothing will be returning it as in case of int, float and character. So that's what you'll always use the void for the function declaration, right? Always use the function declaration when you want to declare the function. When you declare the function as void, that particular function return type will be nothing or zero, right? Nothing will be returning it. So I think hope you understood this concept. Let us move to the other category of the data types. Right? Secondary data type. Secondary data type is not directly supported by machine. Secondary data types are not directly supported by the machine. So it can combination of primary data types along with the secondary data, right? So let us see, it is the combination of primary data type to handle the real life data in more convenient way, right? Usually, as I told, which will not support directly by machine. I want, in order to handle the real life data or more complicated data, so always use the combination of primary data along with the secondary data types. So it can be further divided into two categories as you told in the previous slide. So one is derived data type. Derived data type is an extension of primary data type, is extension of primary data types. It is also as associated with a built-in system, and structure cannot be changed. Its structure is cannot be changed. So best example for this, an array and pointer. So let us see what is an array. An array is a as a fixed size. So whenever you are initialize the array, that particular array, so that is user has to decide it how many number of variables or how many number of values you are going to store it. So that fixed size have to size the decide the size and fix it in before using it. So which will collect only similar element of the same data type. Okay. So pointer is a special variable which contains the memory of the another variable. So there is a pointer is there, so which contains the address of the another variable. So there is a field will be like this, which will be pointed to. How do you get it to the another field? There is a one and second. This variable is having some address, this variable is having some address, which have to be linked together, which contains the address. It may be 0 0. This will be the address of the second variable. When you put this address here, which hold the address of the another variable, this will be the, this way it can be address it, right? This is the way you can link each one of the variable together. Okay. There is another category is called user defined data types. User defined data types can be created by programmer, not by the machine. So when you created by the programmer, you have to use the primary data type. It is a primary data type or derived data type. So either one it can be used to create the user defined data types. That is nothing but a structure, union, enum. So you already seen it in the previous slide, right? So there are three data types are user defined data types: structure, union, enum. So these can be utilized in your program only the help of primary data type or derived data type. Okay. I hope you understood this secondary data type as well. So let us see how this will be described them. Let us definition of each one of them. What is structure? Structure is a collection of logically related data items of different data types grouped together to give a single name. Right? So what is a structure? Structure is a collection of logically related data type are of different data types and combined together to give a single name. Okay. So what do you mean by union? Union is similar to the structure except that each element of that each element comes under the union will share the common memory. That is a major advantage. So whereas in structure each element having having a different address, having its own address, or it is a different address, or in other way I will be put it across. The structure, whenever you declare the member of the structure, will be stored in a different address. But whereas in the member of union, that means all the element comes under the union will sharing the common memory, right? That is a meaning. Enum is used to assign names to the integral constant. It's just an integral constant will assign to the each variable. It is also similar like a structure union, but it is more powerful than those structure and union. It can be because of this reason, the names can make program to easy and easy to read and maintain. So I think you understood this concept. We'll move to the topic, next topic. So I think I have given this name. I had come across these two names in the previous slide, variable and constants. So let us see what is variable. So variable is a symbolic name given to some value which can be changed. So variable is a symbolic name. So name has given a symbolic name to some value which which can be changed. It can be changed throughout the program. So like this, the we can x is a variable, y can be variable, a can be variable, anything it can be a name as a symbolic name. You can give it to values. So that is a those you are called those names are called as a variables. Look at this. X, what is the value in this case? 5. So I have to give a name for it, that is x. So here it is a, what is the value for this a, b plus c. That is a, what is the variable in this? This is a, right? What is constant? As you told, another name is there, constant. Constant is a fixed value which cannot be changed. Which cannot be changed. Once you use it in your program, assign the value that cannot be changed. Like this, 5 cannot change, minus 7.5 and so on. Then, so once you understand the variables and constant, let us move to the tokens. Tokens is very important keywords in your C programs. They may ask this kind of question: define the terminology, define the following terms, what is variable, what is tokens, and what is constant and all. So just you have to one more terminology or important uh, sub topic is tokens. Tokens is nothing but is a smallest individual unit of program is known as token. So they may ask for 1 marks, that is called smallest individual unit of program is known as a token. So generally they will ask 2 marks for each one. So if you give the definition, you will get 1 marks. You will give one example for it, you will get another 1 marks totally. See as the following kind of tokens, right? So the keywords also tokens, right? You generally see as 32 words of keywords. These are all the very meaningful and smallest individual unit. So these are all you called as a reserved words, and you cannot be used them as a variables. Okay, so these are meaning in the special meaning in each of the uh, keywords in your C programming language. Generally, there are 32 tokens are available in C program, right? What do you mean by identifiers? So generally it is identifier is the same as variable, but it is a little different. Identifiers are names that are given to various user defined program elements such as variables, function and arrays. Generally they will ask what is the identifier. Identifiers are name generally will give it to the name are given to the programming elements or variables, function and arrays. What is constant? Just now I explained what is constant. Constant is a fixed values that do not change during the execution of the programs. Then another term is what is string. String is a sequence of character terminated with a null character. So string is a sequence of characters terminated with the null characters. What is a special symbols? So special symbol, some of the symbols will be using it in your day to while writing a program. So hash function, hash cap symbols, ampersand symbol, equal symbol, star, all are using it. It is so on many, not only limited to only these four symbols. You have using some other symbols also in C. So this all comes under the special symbol. So there is another term is called an operators. Operator is a special symbol that tells the compiler to perform certain mathematical or logical operation. Maybe so there is a mathematical operation. So maybe you can say plus, minus, okay, plus and minus, star, all are arithmetical operation. Logical operation also possible, right? There is a undersign and operator, or operators, not operators, all are using it for uh, mathematical and logical operators, right? I hope you understood this concept. What is token, what is variables, what is constant. So in along with what is strings, special symbol, operators, so along with the types of data types in C, right? I hope you understood this concept. So if not, listen it again and again. I simplified this information very concisely. You will not be bothered what you are written in the textbook. You have to return only this much of information. So depending on the question and marks, so you will get full marks, right? So this is very concise information for you. So thank you. uh, do you like this video? Please you have to like and share and subscribe. I can get the interest to do some more video on it. Thank you. We'll see you in the next video.